Hi there, this is Karen with inspiredbygram.com. Welcome to my studio. Today we're going to be making a birthday card using the Sunny Sentiments stamp set from Stampin' Up. My last video showcased a happy hello to you card, which I will link in the description box below. But today we're going to be using a birthday card. So let's take a look at the products and we'll look at the card first here. So we've got a very basic card, but it is bumped up with this embossed panel here in soft succulent, and that is the ornate floral embossing folder. So the inside is very sweet and simple with the basic white and the Pansy Petals designer series paper. So the stamp set again is called Sunny Sentiments. It's a cling stamp set, and it's a really great all-purpose stamp set that I'll be using a lot. The ink choice is called Evening Evergreen, one of our 2021-23 in colors. That'll be around for 2 years. Here's the ornate floral embossing folder. It's beautiful and it's really 3D-ish. And as you can see here, you can see all of these floral patterns here along with the foliage. So it really makes a nice embossed panel. And then we will be also embellishing our cards with some of the rhinestones and also some linen threads. So let's get started stamping. Not a lot to stamp today. We've got our envelope and our circle. So we've got our Hoping Your Birthday is Filled with All the Best Things. This is mounted on a D block from Stampin' Up. If you are interested in blocks, these are great to work with. They are very thick and have a groove here, and I just love using them. So we're just gonna stamp right down onto the circle there. And here you go. Really fun, all caps and cursive writings, really a lot of fun fonts in that stamp. And then we are, of course, are going to stamp our envelope in the same message on the lower corner there. Got that a little bit crooked, but that's okay. It's an envelope and it's homemade. All right, so that is all of our stamping. So now it's just time to put the card together. So lots of little pieces here, but I'm gonna showcase how you can cut or use this scrap on your envelope. So we have Evening Evergreen cardstock, and this is 8.5 by 5.5. I've already pre-scored it at 4 1/4 and burnished it. And then here is a piece of soft succulent embossed in the floral embossing folder, and it is sized 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. We're going to layer that right down on top of the Evening Evergreen, and I'll be using liquid glue today. I find that liquid glue works really nicely with embossed panels. So this is just gonna get layered right onto the center of the card, so it's centered top, bottom, left, and right. Then the next thing we're going to be doing is a little tricky, but we're gonna try to do it here. So I've got the Pansy Petals designer series paper. This is cut 1 3/4 by 4 1/4. We'll need to add our Stampin' dimensionals onto the card. So we're going to add 5 of them. And these are the regular Stampin' dimensionals. I love using them just because they're really quick, they give dimension, and they stick really nice. So now we've got 5 on there. We're going to remove the backings. All right, once you have that done, this is the trickiest part of this card. You're going to take your linen thread, and then we're going to make sure our pansies are going the correct way. This is the correct way. This, of course, is the wrong way. They're upside down, so be very careful about that. And now you're going to want to wrap the linen thread around. So I'm going to extend this all the way over, and I'm going to wrap it around. Wait, actually, doing it backwards. Let's try that again. We're going to put it on the back side, okay? And then let's bring our card in. Then we're going to layer this right on the left side, about 1/4 inch border on the top, left, and bottom. Now make sure your linen thread can still go through just like that. Then you can press down those dimensionals. That way it is very secure. Now we're going to create a bow with the linen thread, and then we can always move it in place. Let me just make sure. Seems a little stuck. There we go. All right, so we're just going to create a bow. Now I found this is a little tricky for me, so what I like to do is I've got these crafting tweezers that I love to use. These came from one of my card club participants, Lee, and I really appreciate her sending those to me. She knew I didn't have these type of tweezers in my craft room, and she knew I didn't have them, and I couldn't find them anywhere in where I live. So she sent them to me, which is really, really nice. So Lee, if you're watching, I'm giving you another shout out. Every time I use these tweezers, I give Lee a shout out. All right, so I've got my bow there. Now we're gonna trim this off. I've got my ribbon scissors here. I only use these for ribbon and linen thread. All right, so that is all set. Now, if you want to place this a little bit higher, you can still do that because that linen thread can move, okay? So we're just gonna kind of move it up a little bit and put it in place. Now, here's the circle that we've already stamped. Now, you're gonna want to put adhesive underneath this side of it and dimensionals on this side, okay? So we're gonna flip it over. So adhesive over here. I'll use my liquid glue. And then our Stampin' dimensionals are going to go on the other side, because that designer series paper is already lifted up, so you need to make sure that you lift up half of this circle so it's all at the same height. All right, so we'll just turn this over. We're going to slide this right into here, and I'm looking at the top of the circle to make sure it is centered amongst those two panels, the soft succulent and the designer series paper with the pansy petals. All right, so now we're going to work on the inside of our card. This one is cut 4 by 5 1/4. It's basic weight, and here's the pansy petals, which is about 3/4 of an inch by 5 1/4. I love to use my scraps, so I don't really throw these out unless I absolutely want to, but I like using small pieces like this on the inside of my panels. All right, so I've got that lined up. My pansies are going the correct way. And now my paper is going over just a little bit over the edge there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper snips and just give that a little bit of a haircut. So it's about 1/16 of an inch, but that bothered me enough to want to cut it off. So let's add some more of that liquid glue to the inside panel, and then we're going to add this right to the inside. Isn't that beautiful? There's that shade of Evening Evergreen in the designer series paper, which matches 100% with our card base. Everything coordinates very nicely with Stampin' Up! Products. All right, so then let's open this up and we'll see what we have here. We're going to embellish with the rhinestones. So I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to actually use the putty side. And these come in 3 different sizes. So I'll just put, I think all I have left on the sheet are all the smaller ones. So we're just going to use what we have here, and I'm going to add 3. So 1, 2, and let's add one right down here. All right, so now what I want to do is I'm going to show you how to add your scrap of the Pansy Petals or any kind of designer series paper that may not absolutely fit 100%. So if you, let me just bring in my card here so you can see this a little bit better on a darker base. So I've got my flap here, and if I was to put it along that crease line, we've got some white here showing, but that doesn't matter, right? I'll show you what to do with that. So let's take our adhesive. For this, I'm going to use my regular seal. I'm just going to get it to work there. All right, so we're going to take our adhesive and bring it all the way around, and then along the score line, and then down this way, and you might want to just put a little bit there, about 1/2 of an inch. Now don't forget, your designer series paper needs to go the correct way. I'm going to add this right along the score line, just like that. Okay, give it a really good press. All right, so now we're going to flip it over, and I use scissors that I don't really care about, and if they get adhesive on them, well, that's okay. So I've had these scissors forever, And we're just going to trim off that excess Pansy Petals. And then we'll trim it off on this side as well. All right. Now remember that white that's showing here? Let me just bring in this card here so you can kind of see it. Well, that's okay. We're just going to trim it off, right? Who cares? It's just a little tiny piece of white. No one will ever know. And there you go, right? So isn't that beautiful? So let me just bring in, this is the sample card we made. And then here is the one we made together, along with the beautiful coordinating envelope, the flap. Doesn't that look beautiful? And then you've got the sentiment on the front as well. So I love this. I love adding designer series paper to the flap. It just, everything coordinates perfectly. So if you're interested in purchasing any of the Stampin' Up! Products today, I would truly appreciate your order. And don't forget to use my host code, which can be found at inspiredbygram.com on the right side of my blog. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Have a great day. Thanks so much.